Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Father's Day. So on a couple of different occasions, I was able to record a couple of conversations I had with my father. One of them, I actually was sitting down in the same room, and in another instance, he was telling me a story that I recorded that I found very fascinating about some kind of stuff that he went through and was dealing with in his hometown, just some life stories. And I decided to cut these together for your listening enjoyment on this Father's Day. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And again, happy Father's Day. I love you, Pops.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode, a very special installment of It's Me Speaking to You. I'm, as always, your ever-faithful host, Mr. Jeffrey Wilson, coming to you live and direct from the Gateway to the West. And today, man, to call it special is to understate it, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the reason for my being, quite literally. Mr. Kenneth Arthur Wilson is joining us today. What's up, Pops? How you doing this morning?
What an introduction. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
I love you, brother. Well, we've had an interesting morning, have we not?
Oh, my goodness. You need to talk about it,
Let's
man.
recap the morning, ladies and gentlemen. I live in an apartment complex. Don't judge me. Yes, I rent. And this morning, we've had a problem. My Pops is coming in town, and he visited me over this last week, and we've heard just some murmuring, some odd, strange things going on upstairs. And I had notified my landlord, and I'm like, you got to handle this. Something's up. And sure enough, this morning, what happened?
Well, I was
You were up early. You were up before me.
I was trying to put a battery in your car.
Yes.
You know, out by the alley. I seen a car or two come down the alley. No big deal. People going to work. Next thing I know, there's about 4 or 5 guys running down the alley. There's a lady walking her dog. Told her to get back. Turned around and seen me standing by your car and told me to sit down. I said, oh, it's on. It is on.
The block is hot.
Kind of been expecting it. Something's been, it's been.
Wasn't it crazy? Yeah, no, I was going to call them because, somebody's running a circular saw at 2 or 3 a.m. I didn't know if they were trying to dispose of a body or whatever it was, but, come to find out, there's some nefarious business going on right above me, ladies and gentlemen, and, yeah, it was pretty much drug related, man. St. Louis, it was, heroin and meth, and it was a pretty gnarly scene. And
kind of scary for a moment.
It was,
Yeah.
and I'm glad they nipped it in the bud. And I wound up talking to some of the cops. I'm like, you guys must have read our minds because we were going to hit you up because something was going down. And so this morning we heard a boom, search warrant, pop me out of bed. It was like Pop said, it was on. But, that was the interesting start of our morning,
Yes, it was.
It was definitely
My heart's still pumping a little bit.
It was pretty fascinating. But it's a very, very good thing to have my Pops here on the show. He's had he's had an opportunity to see me doing what I do a little bit. Couple of my shows.
I love it, yeah.
Between the It's Me Speaking to You, he caught one with myself and Pat Militich the other day. I don't get to see, obviously, as we get older, we don't see our family as much as we'd like to, but, Pops, Mom and Pops both retired, have an opportunity to kind of cruise around and do what they do, and they kind of make their rounds. Pop makes their rounds, Mom makes their rounds, and goes and sees all the family, which is always so appreciated, man. But Pops, we have you here. Like I said, you're my reason for being, my friend, and it's absolutely lovely. We're going to kind of pick your brain a little bit. I know you said you don't want to stick around too long.
No, I'm not too much of a pro at this, buddy.
That's all right. That's all right. Like I told you,
quiet guy.
We need these. We need this for the archives. We need this for the archives.
You got it, baby. You got it.
So growing up, my Pops, man. He's fascinating, very, very fascinating, and just an awesome human being. Growing up here, not too far from here in St. Louis, Quincy, Illinois. What was it like growing up in Quincy, Illinois? You, 3 brothers, 1 sister. Am I correct?
We got 5 boys, 1 girl.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to miss out on
Slighted
anybody.
a couple of your uncles.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of our family. 3, well, whatever. But so, you guys were all into sports. Very, very into sports.
Oh, very much in the family, yeah.
Yeah, baseball, football.
Basketball, track, all of them.
Yeah.
Loved it.
You guys, your Quincy Blue Devils, in what year was that you guys took state? Or not took state, second?
We took third in the state in 1962.
Yeah. And that was interesting. We were talking the other day, and not to pull any kind of race card, but things were difficult for you back in the day.
Yes, for everybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, you were the star player, left-handed, and we're going to get into how that reverberated throughout the world here in a little bit.
There you go. I was one of those.
You were one. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. You had to go when you guys would go out of town. You would have to go in through the back and like all these different kind of things.
Oh yeah, we had those situations, different towns, escorted in and out of towns, a couple places. Yeah.
Right. And that's, obviously different times. But, we were talking the other day, and you were saying specifically in Quincy, Illinois, it was kind of like most things, very political. Everyone has their own little fiefdom, and they all just wanted their kind of suburban rich kids to play. And you guys didn't quite get your nod until, what was that, late 60s? You guys were able to...
Things started to smooth out. We got a different coach in there who wasn't afraid to play people who were supposed to be playing.
Shout out to that coach, Pop. Who was your coach?
That was Coach Cheryl Hanks.
There you go. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you guys, the Quincy Blue Devils don't even know, like, who's produced from there. You got Bruce Douglas. I mean, you got...
Oh, my goodness. Quincy's really got a deep tradition in basketball. Back in the 50s, even Uncle Art.
Yeah.
In the late 40s, it's... sports rich town,
Yeah. Well, and you guys, like you said, you guys were, all the kids, all the Wilson kids were all into some type of sport. And Uncle Danny, you guys excelled. Like I said, it was football, baseball, basketball.
Tried them all, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what are you up to now, my man? I mean, I have people like Hoop, our boy Hoop. Shout out to my man Mike Houska. You, as a retired individual, you live the life that a lot of people kind of dream of. You just kind of do your own thing. What do you guys like? You bouncing around?
Well, what we did, as Mom and I, come out of work and sold the house and the furniture, bought an RV, and hit the road, bud.
Right.
That was that was one of our dreams. When we were young and in love, what are we gonna do when we retire?
Right. There you go.
Mom liked to travel. I like to travel. Still do.
Yeah,
Slowing
absolutely.
down quite a bit, but still do.
Well, those gas prices, man, that kind of puts a hindrance.
Oh, it definitely did.
Staying on the road. Yeah.
Pockets wasn't deep enough to pay that $3 and $4 a gallon, man. That's the honest to God truth.
It is pricey, isn't it? But I mean, like I said, as a retired individual, you're living the life. We were talking the other day, all the different concerts. Who all have you seen? I mean, you've seen a little bit.
Oh my goodness, baby! Earth, Wind and Fire, Kool and the Gang, Smokey Robinson, Roberta Flack.
Everybody.
Yeah, just a lot of. I like my music, and in Southern California, those casinos bring in those good entertainments, and Mom and I jump on them periodically.
Right. Seeing the best. And yeah, we happen to have it is so cool. If you followed the lineage of my program, then you've heard one of my first interviews with an individual named Thomas Wells. And he had so much shine and so much love to give to my pops. I forget what kind of term he used, but he was like, dude, your pop is VIP status forever. Tommy Wells and his brother, what's his brother's name?
Lewis
Wells. Lewis Wells is basically the costume supervisor for Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Been with him ever since 79.
79. And his brother, Tommy Wells, they both kind of do. Tommy Wells does, Barbara Streisand, it's Dr. Dre, Jay-Z, Neil Diamond. He's everywhere. Right now, I think he's with, I forget, but he's a little bit, Lionel Richie. The guy's everywhere. It's so funny and fascinating. You should go back and listen to that interview, everybody. Him and his brother were the original designers of Prince's 1999 album with the coat and the motorcycle.
Next door neighbors.
Yeah, next door neighbors when we lived in Rock Island. And is that crazy? But they had so much love to give to Pops because when they came into to talk about that, Pop, because they have so much love to give because you went out of your way to make them. And that's really what they lament, 40 years later, how you went so far out of your way to make sure that they were, what was going on with them.
Well, their mom's single mother, had a number of kids, and it was tough. It had to be tough.
4th Street, and, Rock Island, baby.
I would see the kids out in the yard, and sometimes, Tommy would be all down and crying. I'd ask him, "What's wrong, little buddy?" We talk a little bit, and I try to encourage him. It's going to be all right. Mom's just trying to do the best she can, you know.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing, you know. Good kids, you know. Look at the results of them, you know. So,
Well, I mean, it totally, it really, really did stick with them because if you go back to that interview with Tommy Wells, and I'm trying to get his brother on soon. Literally, that really, really did stick with them, and you can tell how much that meant. You know, it's like, you know, your pop's got VIP status, you know, wherever we go. And like you said, you've seen Earth, Wind, and Fire a number of times, right?
Oh, yeah. Every time they come around, Louis fixes it up.
Yeah.
You know?
We got the VIP treatment. So, well, like I said, I'm not going to keep you too long, but, you know, part of what we talked about, you know, your sports lineage, you were the man. You were the man in Quincy.
Oh, you're being generous.
Well, come on now.
Yeah.
Because clearly, as this story is going to illustrate, my pops is the man, but in the sports world was the man. He relayed a story to me a while ago that I was pretty floored by. And as you hear it, it becomes one of those like, what are the freaking odds of this going down? Pops, relay the story of the gentleman as a retired man out. You guys were out in Arizona, correct?
We was out in Arizona doing our RV thing.
Out in Arizona, hundreds of miles away from Quincy, Illinois, or the Quad Cities or wherever. And you ran into somebody, and he knew you from Quincy and being the nicest left-hander in Quincy. Tell the story, Pop.
Well, it's just kind of weird, Jeff. I don't know if I can catch the build up here. But anyhow, his name was Herb Porter from Denver, Colorado. We were both out RVing. He was on his way, actually, to the Super Bowl down in San Diego. Found out he was from Centralia, Illinois. I was trying to tell him, I said, well, you know, Herb, I said, I'm familiar with Centralia. I played little basketball. That's Southern Illinois, played little basketball down there. And I asked him, I said, do you know a young man, Herb Williams? I think it was Herb Williams. He said, oh, yeah. He said, where are you from? I said, we're from Quincy, Illinois. Quincy? Well, Quincy had a pretty good ball player there, left-handed dude. And I looked at him and I said, Herb, I said, you might not believe this. I said, but you're talking to him. He said, I'd only known the man for 10 minutes. He said, you lying NMF.
You can say, you lying motherfucker, is what he called you.
Yeah, you lying motherfucker. I said, no, man. I said, we got to talk, and we're good friends today. He's not in real good health nowadays, but I call him and check with him. He's not on the road RVing anymore. But we used to meet up out on the road after that quite a bit, you know. Hell of an experience. I was relating that to Jeff to try to tell him and show him how small this world is. You know?
It is. And that's good. Well, not only how small this world is, but how nice you were with the basketball, my man. Because
wasn't all that bad. Well, you know,
yeah,
wasn't no superstar, but I did well, baby.
Well, I mean, clearly,
you know, you're embarrassing Pops out.
No. You don't have someone come up to you 40 some years after high school remembering how nice you were. So you're a modest man, and I accept that, and I love you for it. But you know that's one of those stories that you just don't get very often.
It's hard for people to believe that, you know. I
Right.
tell people that story. Oh, you kidding, man?
Right,
No,
yeah.
It happened. It definitely happened.
The odds of that are pretty fascinating. What we also talked about, and I'm gonna let you off the hook here. I know we're pushing the 12-minute mark. I know we're
Yeah, I told not too long, baby. You know?
we have a family member that we were talking about. Ken Norton, the recently deceased Ken Norton, rest in peace, sir. We are related to him in
through marriage we're related.
Through marriage, correct.
Uncle Art married Ken Norton's mother's sister. You know, so that's an opportunity. We're related, man.
Right. You just say
It's
that's
not a blood relationship. It's
Sure.
a relationship through marriage. Yeah.
Didn't you get a chance ever to meet him, hang out with him?
Yeah, we competed against each other in high school. He was from Jacksonville, Illinois.
Right.
Ran track against him.
Did you
played
beat him?
Basketball. No, because he was running. Well, I was running. No, I didn't beat him because we were both running hurdles. Yeah, he beat me in the hurdles.
Okay.
We beat him in basketball.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Yeah, so, crazy associations that we have here in the old Wilson clan. You know, Pops is like I said, in town for just you're leaving tomorrow morning, correct? Tomorrow morning, man. It's like I said, it's just a lovely thing to have him down. We just don't all of us just don't get a chance to hook up as much as we should or used to.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, back in the old Colony Drive days, I mean, it was almost, I don't know how frequent it was, very frequent, where everybody would come and chill out at 111 Colony, throw down the pallet on the ground wherever you could get in, you'd fit in.
Yep, that's about it.
And as
many as we can get.
I went to the hallowed grounds last summer. I don't know if you saw this. I did a Facebook Live video and approached the gentleman who wasn't too keen on my arrival.
He wasn't, was he?
But fuck him. That was my spot. I told him this is too much was the same. The Rock. Some of anyway. This doesn't make sense to our listeners so much, but 111 Colony Drive was the spot, man. And the Wilson family's always that's what I love about us, Pop. Like we don't see each other very much, and it kind of sucks that way. But we still have. And as I've gotten older, and honestly, have met people who have very much more detached relationships with their family, because I just think it's just everybody has a great family, and that's just not the case.
Not always.
It makes us appreciate that much more what we have, and we've always had a really cool, tight family, which I've always loved so much, man.
Yeah, Pops too, man.
Yeah, and I'm glad you get the chance.
That's the way I was kind of brought up, man. There was always family members around. Like I said, when I was a kid, it was a little different back there. You had to have each other,
Yeah.
To keep that unity going. You stuck together. You did things together, because we couldn't do what everybody else could do.
The community, was so much smaller then. I mean, you could go to the store by yourself, et cetera, et cetera. It's definitely a different world, but I'm glad we've kept it all together, man. Like I said, isn't as frequent as we would like.
Do the best we can.
We do, absolutely.
Everybody's busy, so
life moves on. Mm-hmm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, any final words, Kenneth Arthur Wilson?
Well, I'm proud of you and what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pop.
Listen in your interviews, your excitement. I love the excitement you have.
I get a little fired up sometimes.
Yeah, you do, man.
I get a little fired up.
Yeah, you get with it. I like that. But that's your MO. I bet you people know you by your energy that you bring.
Well, I hope so. Like between these kind of conversations, where it's kind of a variety, where you just kind of pick somebody's brain, or the conspiracy farm with Pat Miletich, we kind of. Yeah, it's kind of the yin yang, actually, and I kind of dig that. I try to find that balance between the heavy stuff and then lighthearted conversations like this.
You've had them both. I've seen you do both of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I enjoy it.
Right. Well, what's next? Where you heading?
Well, like I said, I'm heading back home. I'm staying with your brother Lance right now. I've got to go out and set up the trailer. Mom would be home from Georgia here pretty quick. I had to come home to get some check with my doctors and check on some of this side effects as medications got me going on.
Boy.
So, just trying to take care of myself. So I just took the opportunity to come down. We usually stop through coming home
absolutely.
Anyhow.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I've seen everybody this winter but my baby boy. So I said, let me jump on the bus and go see Jeff. I've enjoyed it. It's been great, man.
Yeah.
Got to know my granddaughter a little more, jumping up like a weed. And
she's growing like a champ. I've seen, and I don't watch much TV, but I've seen more Bonanza and Gunsmoke and Columbo than I've seen.
Channel, man. This TV, yeah.
Pops loves his throwbacks and his golf. His golf. Talk to me before we get off here, Pop. Mm-hmm. If we could create an online community or an online golf game of what's the name of the game you play? The golf game?
Oh,
Links.
My Links 203.
It is called Links 203, and I defy any human being to even approach my pops on this game. Like the time
there's
spent.
Some better ones out there, babe. I bet you.
But I mean, he could probably win himself a nice chunk of change in some contests. If anybody wants to put together some links online, I know it's an older game, but what is your fascination with this game, Pops? You put mucho time into this game.
Well, it's actually, to me, it's actually like playing the real game, because
you break it down.
Yeah, all the elements, the wind, the lie,
lie of the green.
It's all it's like you're on the golf course. It's good for me for golf course management,
Yeah,
I use it I don't play that much golf anymore, but this keeps me in the game.
You've been playing it for a very, very long time.
Oh my goodness.
When you did start, did that breaking it down kind of
that's what grabbed me.
Did it translate to the actual game though, physical game?
Yeah, that's the way I take it. That's the way that's the way I received it.
Yeah.
And I actually use some, instead of just going out there swatting and hitting the ball, check out your lie.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Check out your angles, the wind, you pay more attention to it.
And those computer games are so sophisticated now that it's not just
yeah. Well, mine's an Owen. 203 was the last year Lynx, I think, did this. And Lance told me, your brother told me, he said he's seen some other games, but this is one of the most graphic ones he's seen.
Yeah.
And I'm hooked, buddy.
Oh yeah, it's kind of staggering, ladies and gentlemen, when you see the time put in. But I mean, like I said, we can open the challenge to anyone who listens, anyone online who would like to challenge my pops in a game of Lynx 203. We get a pool together. We can put some money on the line because I'm telling you, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Whoever it is steps up. Pops is going to shut you
put
down.
A lot of pressure on me, man.
Stephen Hawking style. No, I'm telling you, you just don't put that much. He's a master, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let him fool you. As you've heard, the man is very modest, so I'm going to toot his horn for him. He'll smash you.
Oh shoot!
But Pops, I love you, man.
Love you too, baby. You know that.
And it's been great to have you here.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I'm gonna be heading back to the quad and whatever.
Yeah,
hopefully,
well,
be able
we're
to spend
gonna
a
be
little
hooking
time.
up sometime this summer, anyhow.
Sure.
One way or another. You
Sure.
come back down or you come up. So, take these times to be together sometime.
Yes,
so.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been quite the special episode of It's Me Speaking to You. My pops, Kenneth Arthur Wilson, is in the building and has taken a little slice of his time. I mean, and you don't know how precious this is, ladies and gentlemen. Pops doesn't do the digital world. Pops is old school. You can't text Pops. You can't email Pops. You need to call him on the phone.
Personal communication. I like it.
Yeah, he doesn't do any of the interweb business, which is a beautiful thing, So thank you again, Pops. I love you so very much.
Yeah,
safe travels, and obviously you're welcome back on the show anytime.
I appreciate. I might be a little better next time.
No, ladies and gentlemen, did he not do fantastic? Come on, man.
Okay.
Where'd I get my stuff from? It didn't just come from nowhere. You're hearing it right now. He's very demure and very chill in his presentation, but I'm telling you, this is the man's swagalicious. His name is Kenneth Arthur Wilson. I love you so much, Pop.
Love you too, baby.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. There will be more.
No, it was just interesting because we were talking about that dynamic, that social dynamic that people kind of don't get now. But I'm sorry, go ahead. There was the friend, the letter, man. I was fascinated by that.
Well, the way it went down, Jimmy, our buddy Jimmy, he was a neighbor, lived right behind us over on Sycamore. Ran in Uncle Bill. I think when Uncle Bill was in the computer, IBM out there. But anyhow, he got my address and all the information, and he wrote me a letter. And we talked. He had a little pleasantries going, but down through the letter, he said, I need to apologize to you. He was talking about when we left the athletic field down there. We used to go down there and play all day, but on the way home, there was about 4 of us. And everybody wanted a drink of water, but they stopped at this tavern and I couldn't go in. So they went in and got a drink of water and come back out. Didn't even give it a thought because they knew I couldn't go in, And then after he grew up, he started, I guess he, looked back on it and said, damn, that was wrong. So he wrote.
And this was when you say you couldn't go in. I mean, this was all by the house or by the area we were talking about earlier?
All down. It was down on 12th Street in Quincy.
Oh, okay.
And it was a hot summer day. They wanted a drink, so they went in and got a drink. I couldn't go in. So they,
And this is Quincy.
out.
I'm sorry. This is Quincy, Illinois, 1960. What? 1, 2?
Oh no, that was we were younger then. We was probably that was 50s, late 50s.
Late
57.
late 50s. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, middle 50s to late 50s. But Ken and I were talking about how segregated and the black signs we had them in Quincy. At the Dairy Queen where we got there the vanilla window and the chocolate window.
Oh no!
Yeah.
They even commercialized segregation.
So, but the letter you got though, you said you still have it.
I got it somewhere. Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was he? Was it something you just held on to? I mean, was it something in it that made,
you know, it was just
what was it? What was it in the letter that made you hold on to it for so long?
Well, just basically, it was from Jimmy, and I thought it was very profound. That, you know, that it's just a lesson in people learn later on in life how things really work. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just he didn't realize it. He was apologizing. I've had a couple of my grade school buddies apologize. The guy that Lance and I and we used to go up there to the NASCAR races up in Chicago, and he was apologizing. Kenny said, "I didn't know what you were going through." And I said, "Well, the thing about it, you know, we were friends, and we just ignored it, you know, didn't even give it a thought." But they didn't realize the prejudice and all the shit that was going on in our community. They thought Quincy was a cool little town. They didn't know how screwed up it really was, you know.
Well, I guess it is cool when everything is all working out for you and you can go wherever you want to go, you know?
Yeah, if you're not being discriminated against. And,
what is that, Pop? You think that's kind of what's going on today? People can't necessarily empathize what's really going on with a certain segment of society they kind of
people just don't know, baby. Yeah, they just don't know.
Yeah.
You know, if you never have been oppressed, you know, been discriminated against or been oppressed or held down by society because of your color, you don't know what's going on.
That's what's so weird. As I was saying to Ken, you were like, you know, you were the top star basketball player, but when you would have to travel out of town, you would have to go, like you just saying.
No, we had restrictions, man. Even then, when I come out of high school, you know, we went to Pekin, Illinois, man, and there was some bad racial problems up there. We had to be escorted in town, man, and out. You know, police met our team bus. You know, they would call ahead and tell us, "Here we come," and pick us up on the highway and get us to the gym. And after the game, throw a couple of cars behind us, they escort us out of town. Yeah.
So let me ask you, you addressed this, and it's so funny because I was just talking to my older brother, and he was basically relaying the same story, if you will, where your coach was essentially letting you know who you couldn't be messing with, right? Didn't your coach let you?
Yeah.
What did your coach say to you?
Well, after Mom and I had a nice summer going around having fun, a girl, you know, got back to Coach Hanks and probably everybody in town that Kenny Wilson was dating a white girl. So
dun 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 dun.
Yeah, you know. So when we got back to school, about the second or third day of school, I was in study hall and I got a call to go report to Coach Hanks' office. So I go down and you know, I sit down in the office and said, "Kenny, how you doing?" All that pleasantry shit. "You been keeping your nose clean?" I told him, I said, "Coach, if you're talking about me dating Jackie McMurtry," I said, "I haven't, I guess." You know, and that took him by surprise because he was looking for a big denial and stuff. You
waiting
know?
For you to punk out. Daddy ain't no punk.
Him,
Daddy ain't no punk.
Yeah. He told me, he said, "Well," he said, "if I have to kick you off this basketball team, I'll see that you never touch a basketball the rest of your life." You know, wow. So me and Mom, we just went undercover with our shit, you know.
Which has to be hard to do in a town like Quincy, Illinois, right?
Oh, you can't imagine, Jack. You can't imagine. You know.
Yeah,
Mom and Dad were scared to death because, you know.
You the fly in the buttermilk. You know what I mean? It's one of them.
Man. You know, we got threatened. I got threatened. You know, so it was nice back then, baby.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I just find that, and I find that fascinating when I was talking to Ken.
I bet you do.
No, I mean, just that, you know, somebody hit you up years later with you, you know, like you said, you've had a few instances where cats have come to you and been apologetic as far as their conduct back in the
This
day.
is
But
after I've been, this is one after I grew up.
the
And
letter,
he was
to get a letter,
I'll find that letter and let you check it out.
Well, it's good. It's good that person had the sensibility or just the humility to send it. You know what I mean? Some people are very unapologetic about that behavior, but that's a beautiful thing to get that. However many years later.
It was. That's the main reason I kept it. It's kind of heartfelt from me. And like I said, we were 6th or 7th grade, man, when that happened.
Wow.
It was. We were fairly young. And there was a few of the white kids who just hung out and, the folks didn't like it. We couldn't go by their house or nothing. But we could meet different places and play all day,
Well, please, and if you don't mind, after Coach Hanks or this whole situation where you're trying to play a little close to the vest, my mother and her cohorts, God bless their souls, Barbara, as well as my Aunt Chris and Aunt Barb, how they were riding next to the bus, yelling, hey.
Man. Yeah, man, it didn't need that. I could have punched Mom out then. We heading out of town for a ball game. Everything was we were the talk of the town. Mom and her rebel butt. Here she come down. Here she come down the street. Get up next to the bus, her and that Barb just raising hell. Go Devils, all this. I said, oh, shit, boy. This ain't what I need, man.
Mama, trying to get me kicked off the team. We trying to play ball over here, Jackie.
I'm just losing. She was just, we both had that attitude to hell with them, but we had to be discreet. To a certain degree.
Well, it's good to see. It's good to see where I got my rebel spirit from, little bit.
Yeah, man. You had to stand up, baby. We had to stand up.
Well, and that's a beautiful thing that you did, Pop. And it was a dangerous. a very dangerous time.
Well, it wasn't no good. We got out of Uncle Buck and I got out of junior high school one night, and I was tired of it, and he was my running mate. And there was a men's clothing store up on the south side of town, State Street. We weren't supposed to be anywhere close to there. After school, Uncle Buck come. I said, come on, man. We got some place to go. Where are we going? I said, we're going up to the State Street clothing store. Where are we going up there for, man? I said, come on, man. Let's go. I said, let's just make them put us out. What the hell? So we went up there. We wasn't in that store no more than 2 minutes, man. What do you guys want? What do you want to hear? We're just looking at some clothes. You can't be in there. Get out of here,
Hurry up and buy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. I mean, we love to think that times have changed, which to some degree they have, but.
Oh, we done kind of regressed a little bit now, man.
Yeah.
Quite a bit, matter of fact. Quite a bit. You see all this hatred stuff going on, man. It's crazy right now.
Even going back to your time, the 60s, etc. There's always been a lot of interest in keeping us divided, man. Divide and conquer has been a very. Yeah. But and that's what's so beautiful, Pop, and that's what's so beautiful about you, man. When I see you go around and you're just you really do go around and try to chat with people, etc. It makes people realize we have more in common than we do different. You could easily stay in your corner and not go over here and talk to people because whatever. That's always been your thing, man. You've always, let me go holler. Wherever you and Mom have traveled for these many years, you retired. You want to go meet people. You want to roll around. Hey, how you doing? I'm Kenny Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how you had.
Time.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying that's how you had that experience down in Arizona. Where you're, 3,000-4,000 miles from home, you and Mom are out there hanging out in the desert, and somebody starts talking to you about, oh man, I remember this left-handed basketball player back in the day. He was nice as hell, and you're like, dude, you're talking to him. It's crazy. That never happens.
He called me and said, "You a lying motherfucker." He hadn't known me for 5 minutes, man.
What are the odds of that happening? But that's the beautiful thing, man. You would never know that unless, you know, you get out of your comfort zone. You could easily allow all that stuff you've gone through to make you put up boundaries. Like, you know, these are just stupid, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Obviously, you're not racist because you're married to a white woman. You had a bunch of mixed babies. But it's like, you've never allowed that to stop you from being the person you are.
No.
Yeah.
You know, we got the same rights to everybody else, you know.
You're right. I mean, and you always said that too, man. I'm a man, you give me man's respect type thing. You know?
That's right. It's all, you know, do unto others as you know.
A golden rule, man. That's really what I'm all about too, man. Just keeping it golden rule style. I'm just saying, don't ever think you're too old to get out there and still put it down. Because, you know. Yeah.
I hear you, baby. I hear you.
You still the man. You still Kenny Wilson out here.
I got you. Love you for that, boy.
Don't ever forget.
Okay, baby.
All right, Poppy.
You keep taking care, and I love you, man.
I will. I love you, too. Thanks for chopping it up with me. Love you.
All right. Love you, too, man.
See you.
Take care.